Greetings, fellow guitar enthusiasts, players, learners. It's Ryan from RNA Music. I'll give you a quick little introduction to basically playing scales. And before you can play solos, it's a good idea to kind of learn scales. And most guitar solos, if you're into that kind of stuff, are basically made up of different scales and arpeggios. And and just piecing them all together. So we're going to start with the very basics of the major scale and kind of an introduction into modes and playing guitar all over the neck. And just the best place to start is with the major scale. Most music that we listen to in Western culture comes from the major scale, derived in some way from that. And so it's sort of the building blocks. Just like when you're a kid and you're learning math, the building blocks of math are, basic numbers and then addition. 1 plus 1 is 2, 1 plus 2 is 3, 1 plus 3 is 4. You get your addition down, then you go into subtraction, and then you get into multiplication, then you get into division, then you get into fractions, and then you get into algebra and trigonometry and calculus and all that other mess, right? So it's all just building on one kind of foundation at a time. And so the bedrock, the foundation of most of our music that we play, whether you're into country or metal or rock or bluegrass or blues or any of that stuff, basically it all starts with the major scale. So we're going to start there, and we're starting a very guitar friendly scale, which is G. Okay. Scale is basically 7 notes in a particular order of whole steps and half steps. If you know what that means, a whole step, like on a guitar, a half step is from 1 fret, like there's 3rd fret G, to 4th fret, which would be a G sharp or an A flat. 1 fret is a half step. 2 frets, from 3rd fret to 5th fret, is a whole step. This is what they're called. Different intervals. Okay, and a major scale is all scales and modes are just different orders of whole steps and half steps. A major scale is basically, it's very easy to remember, from the first note to the second note is a whole step. Another whole step, a half step, a whole step, a whole step, a whole step, and then a half step to get you back to the first note you started on. So, for a major scale, or if you're thinking about modes, and of course we'll get into that deeper later, major scale is also called the Ionian mode. Basically the order of the whole steps and half steps is whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. And so that works no matter where you're at. And you can start on any note, and if you play whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, you've got a major scale. So here I'm going to start on the let's start on an F on the 4th string. Whole, whole, half, whole, whole. So basically, scales come from that. If you watch The Sound of Music, you have. Remember they sing their little song, do, re, mi. Do, a deer, a female deer. Re, a drop of golden sun. All that stuff. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. That's the scale. That's your major scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And you hear that a lot. So, but here on guitar, we want to get into playing soloing, right? And so the basics of all that stuff, that's a lot of information. Just sorry to load you down with that, but once you understand, I like to play scales and modes on guitar using 3 note per string positions. There's more than one way to play stuff on guitar. It's a beautiful instrument, and you can do it more than one way. But a lot of if you're really into the shreddy, fast playing kind of guys, Yngwie and any of that kind of stuff, John Petrucci, Dream Theater, or a lot of metal, like extreme things, but also everything else, jazz, and they'll use the 3-note per string positions. I like that because once you understand the kind of finger positions you're going to use, it makes it pretty easy to memorize them, and I'll show you that. So we're going to start with a G and learn a G scale with a 3-note per strings, which means there's going to be 3 notes on each string. Pretty obvious. But we're going to start here on your 3rd fret of your 6th string with a G. How about that? Okay. Now this first finger position we're going to use is actually going to work on the 6th and 5th string. And basically you're going to use these 3 fingers. 1, 2, and 4. 1st, 2nd, pinky. You have got to use your pinky. Okay. So now what's going to happen is between the 1st finger and your 2nd finger there's going to be a fret. Because remember, a whole step. Okay. So 3rd fret, 5th fret with your 2nd finger, 7th fret with your 4th finger or your pinky. So you got this little kind of spacing here. Okay, G, A, B. Okay, simple. G. 5th string, exactly the same. This is great. 1st finger. See how that worked? Right? Okay. Good news is to play all these 3-note per string scales and all the different modes and stuff, there's really only 3 different kind of finger positions, we'll call them, that you got to learn. That's the first one. We've got a fret in between these 2 guys, and then a fret in between these 2 guys. Okay, now when we move on to the 4th string, this is going to change up a little bit. Now, these 2 are going to stay the same pretty much, but your 1st finger is going to shift over here to the 4th fret, which is an F sharp. 2nd finger is going to be on the 5th fret. So 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. So now, instead of having this thing going where there's a space in between these guys, now you're going to have it where these 2 guys are together, right next to each other, adjacent frets. A half step. Remember that? Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Here's your half step. Whole, 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 whole. Well, from here to here is a half step. See that? Didn't mean to get you off on the whole, whole halves. Get you confused. And we're back to G. So that's a 1 octave. Octave just means the first 7 notes, 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or back to 1. 8 and 1 is the same thing. This is a G. This is a G. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. So you can give all the note names of a major scale. You can give them their note names: G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. You can also give them numbers: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're back to 1. But anyway, so we're here back to this shape. 4th string, 4th fret. The next one's exactly the same. It's an exact copy of it. 3rd string, 4th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret. So you see this? If I get my ring finger out of the way here. So this is kind of your 2nd finger position you're going to use. You've got the 1st that was on the 5th and 6th strings, where there's a space, a fret between them all. next grouping. The first two fingers are a half step apart, basically. Okay, now to finish this scale off, we got to shift to the 5th fret, and we're going to go to a new kind of finger position. This one is going to be first finger. You're going to use your 3rd finger and your 4th finger. Now your 3rd and 4th are going to be right next to each other. So you got this guy, fret in between. This guy, half step, fret in between. Now the last one is you got this guy, fret in between these. These two are right together, half step, right next to each other. So 2nd string, 5th fret, 1st finger. It's an E. F sharp. Here's your G. So you got your G here on the 3rd fret, G up here on the 8th fret. So that's basically 2 octaves. 2 octaves means you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Keep going up. Okay, now if you're going to continue this scale, you know, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G, A. Keep going up from this G. On the 1st string, we're going to play 5th fret. We're going to use the same finger position we just used on the 2nd string. Then your pinky. It's like we were continuing. Okay, so the whole 3-note per string first position of this G scale, or Ionian mode. And then play it backwards. Right? Not too bad. You really, and it's nice because on each set of strings, your finger positions kind of mirror each other. Coming back down. That's it. That's the very beginning, 3-note per string, major scale position that works here in G. Beautiful thing about the guitar, because it's a symmetrical kind of instrument, that exact thing we just played, you can put it anywhere you want to, and it's going to be a major scale. Okay, so let's say here was G. Say we want to play it in F. Remember that order? Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. That's intact. That's what makes a major scale sound like a major scale. It's happy, you know. That's what major scales sound like. But that little position works wherever you're at. Okay, so there you go. That's sort of a beginning introduction to that stuff. Take it nice and slow and steady. Make sure you use the right fingers. Practice going up and then back down. Just up and back down, up and back down, up and back down. Now that's just mechanical stuff, because when you're playing, let's say you want to play, you're playing a song in G, and you want to use that position to play some solos. Play around with that. But you don't want to just want to go really sound like the right kind of solo, but if you just run it like a scale, it'll sound like you're playing a scale. But we'll talk about that later and how to use that scale to make some kind of melodic ideas and get you going. Now, there are 7 different positions basically of that scale, and what that allows you to do is play it in different places on the neck, right? So you're not just stuck in this one little spot right here and this is all you ever play. You want to play a G scale, use it to solo with, improvise with, but it gets boring if it's just right here. So you want to play it up here somewhere. We'll get to that. We'll learn, and again, all these different 7 positions are basically just made up of different kind of arrangements of this, this, and this. All right. Thanks for watching. Again, this is not for you advanced guys. So quit critiquing, you advanced guys. This is for very beginners. Just want to get their feet wet, getting started with soloing and scales and learning how this works. So peace out. Talk to you soon.